All right. On this week's episode of the MentalEdge Podcast, your hosts,
Fernando Lopez Jr.
and Jay Wakasey, get to talking about
how to score a mentor.
Yeah, lay it on me, Big Pappy.
Big Pappy.
Lay it on me, Big Pappy.
Big Pappy. Yeah. Oh, so for Thanksgiving, we're having an early Thanksgiving.
Are you really?
Yeah. Yep. Doing the early thing. So we're gonna do it this Sunday. And so Susanna's feeling pretty stressed.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, yeah.
Because
Hey, when
I'm
you
gonna
wanna
do it at her
How
house.
about tomorrow?
Basically.
Dang.
Basically.
Dang, girl.
Yeah. And she's like, and then she says, "Hey, would you like to invite, your brother and sister?"
Wow.
So altogether,
cool.
17
people. Yeah. You're lucky you're not in
kids.
Chicago, man. A SWAT be showing up at your house.
Yeah.
Attention, all occupants of the house with 7 cars around it. You are surrounded by the local police. Come out with your turkeys up and your masks on. Thank you.
Wait, what was Tom? What was his last name again?
Treason.
Tom. I gotta look him up. Send me me his name
I
just so I
will.
can
You're
hurry
gonna
up and.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna be blown away.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I would take from just what you said, if I was a young aspiring comedian, I'd look for someone like him to mentor me.
That's exactly right. Man, dude.
Don't say it, man. I already
You're
know.
on fire, man.
Yeah.
So I think I should say he's en fuego. Hey, man, I've been working on my Spanish. I'm taking like a class at night, and I just wanted to say, mi amigo es muy guapo y en fuego, if you know what I mean. What the hillbilly is trying to say is that his friend is both handsome and hot. Oh, man. It's my boy right here.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
I appreciate the compliment that you almost said.
Yeah.
But you were thinking it,
I
and
took
I thought
it away
it
because
first.
you're right.
Yeah.
I don't want to wear it out.
Right.
Speaking of wearing it out,
Okay. All right. You look like the little
I was
Kermit.
once
You look like
told-
Kermit the Frog
Yeah.
drinking his tea. He
I was
like,
once told, Fernando, don't worry, young man, you can't wear that out.
I almost choked on the coffee, bro. Oh my
Yeah, so, I think that this is a good conversation. And I didn't really fully understand. I can't wait for you to break down what you sent me, but I got the spirit of it.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
I'm just intrigued that actually, if you think about it, the last 2 guests we had on the show, you could definitely say, Sensei Tony, hi! Hey.
Yeah.
Oos.
Yeah,
I've been practicing my
yeah.
oos, Tony.
Yeah.
He's definitely, when I think about people who could fill the bill as a mentor,
Yeah.
he's got
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh, definitely.
And I'm wondering
Yeah.
if that'll be something. I mean, right now, I'm certain that Josh could inspire people.
Yeah.
But there is a difference between an inspirational person in the moment and someone that elevates to mentor-like status. And I can't wait to talk about
I think
this
there's
stuff.
levels to the.
There's levels.
There's
Ooh.
levels to this game.
There's levels to this grind.
There's levels to this
Yeah,
grind.
yeah,
So
I like it.
So yeah, Tony is definitely a mentor to me.
Yes, and you mentioned that.
Yeah,
I love
mentioned that. He definitely is a mentor to me, and I got really lucky. And I think do you agree that you have to agree with everything a mentor provides to you?
I do not agree with that. I do not.
Right. So there is some certain things that me and Tony might not see eye to eye on. Doesn't mean that he can't be my mentor.
To me, that's an incredible example of maturity in your relationship.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So, I don't know. I think that. Well, anyway, let's introduce ourselves before.
Let's get that
away.
popping. My name is Jay Wakasey,
and I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
and this is
the MentalEdge Podcast. You know what? No, do that right there. That's going to be the picture that I'm using.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm gonna go to. That's it. I'm going to thumbnail class.
Yeah, I always try to find the best. I always try to find the best image that would make someone say, I want to click that because what in the heck is he doing?
I know,
Or why are they laughing so much? Why are they laughing so much?
Pull it out.
Yeah, I like that one.
I love what you pull out of the video
Yeah.
to use as the thumbnail. And dude, everything you do graphically, I'm so jelly.
Man, don't be
jelly.
because I'm the opposite when it comes to this. So
jelly.
I appreciate
You
it.
came
man.
in here, you started firing stuff up. The cameras are on, the lights are on. Got the fill lights, you got the key lights.
Yep. And I forgot to close the door.
Let's close the door so that the bulldog can't barge into this episode. Yeah, put something on that, man. But there you go. We'll deal with the sound of a head bumping, but knocking a camera over. Good Lord.
She don't play.
But you know what? Just like Josh, we faced a little bit of adversity. We powered through it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a good episode, and it's coming out
This week?
this week. So it's weird, right? Because if you listen to our content, and we doubt you do both YouTube and audio, but the video is about a week behind, and it makes sense. So
Yeah.
And I was thinking about what you sent me, like how to promote and how to do. I'm like, my head was spinning, like, because you don't want to get caught up in stealing thunder away from the podcast, which is what's at our heart and soul important to us.
Yeah, I agree. So anytime you send me something, or actually anytime I come across anything like deals with podcasts or advertising, or I'm always quick to send it to you. Did you get the one where it's like the podcast, how to run a successful podcast?
Yes, I watch all of it. Even the merch one I watched.
Did you? Okay.
Even the merch, yes. I just don't always have a chance to hit you up because sometimes I feel like we need to have a meeting, like a business meeting. We got a lot to talk about, man. When we get to be elevating.
But we'll get there. Right?
Yeah, we are
just
gonna
like
get
everything
there.
else.
Like before the end of the year, guys, we're gonna have some merch. We're gonna have some hats and T-shirts.
And I'm working with a gentleman, and offline I'll tell you who he is. And this gentleman's coming out with an entire like beard product. Oh yeah.
Is it oil or was it? I don't want to steal his thunder. I don't steal his thunder.
We'll throw it on later. But anyway, today we wanted to talk about what?
We're going to talk about
mentorship.
Yeah, mentorship. Whether you're finding one or being one, I think there's two aspects to this.
Yeah. I did, just Merriam-Webster's version of mentorship is an experienced or trusted advisor.
That about
pretty sums it up, right?
Yeah.
It's not bad. Yeah. So it kind of sums up like what you were talking about with Sensei Tony, 7th Degree Dan, even though it's spelled Dan.
I know. I struggle.
Yeah. And then, he, like I said before, he is a mentor of mine. After my first divorce, he had been through a divorce, so he kind of like told me a couple things.
Sure.
He's like, hey, don't rush into nothing. Don't, But
Very cool.
Yeah. And a lot of experience, a lot of life experience. I mean, he's done so much with his life. I found out before our last episode that he and you worked for the same thing or worked for
he's a USW member. He used to be a steel worker.
Yeah. So for 30 years, I didn't know that. And then that he was in the military and he's
almost been out as much as he's been in. That's impressive.
Yeah. So because of that, someone like that to me, I feel like with the life experiences, he definitely falls under the umbrella of he could be a really good mentor. And I have a quick story of another. When you send me this information, you were like, I read some of your stuff. I'm thinking to myself, man, sometimes you can't help but go back into the memory banks and think of past people in your life or whatever like that. And this person, her name was Lee Bober. Okay. Lee Bober. Yeah. She worked for a company. She was the marketing director for the United States' largest boiler manufacturer.
Wow.
On the plane.
Wow.
Yeah. So Lee was, I got introduced to Lee from a college professor.
Yeah.
That thought that I would be a really good fit for this company. So he was like, I really can't teach you too much in this class. He goes, but I know of a place that's hiring, and this job actually would be one of the jobs that changed my life, and mostly in part because of Lee. So he tells me about he gives me a phone number. I call. I ask for her. And so she answers the phone, and she's very pleasant over the phone. she wants me to come in for an interview, and I didn't realize for a big company like that, and when they're offering you really big salaries, sometimes you have to go through like a 3-step process, right? So I met with, they introduced me to her. Actually, I didn't even meet her at first. I was introduced to 2 people.
Yeah.
That kind of like, I don't know if they're the buffers, right? They kinda,
we're going to feel you out, young man.
Yeah, they're going to fill me out. Then then after that interview, I was called back to meet another buffer, which I think was, and then I was introduced to her.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. And then, so after the second
I
interview,
get it, though.
I was taken in to meet her. And by this time, there's kind of like a level of respect.
Yeah.
That it was kind of bestowed by the former, or by the people that led up to
and
me
even the
meeting
process,
her.
right?
Yeah, the process.
Like they don't
the whole
take this
thing.
crap lightly.
Yeah. So I meet with her, and at this point, I'm not gonna lie to you, I felt like a little bit of me wasn't ready for this job, right? So I'm like,
wow, that's
am I qualified for this? You know,
am I qualified to meet the queen?
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Okay.
So as soon as I walk in, she's like, the most amazing attitude. Like she walks in and the whole aura changes, right?
That's so cool, man.
Mind you, when I'm walking down the hallway for these interviews, this hallway there had to be 20 to 30 offices, the length of the hallway, and maybe 30 to 40 sales and marketing people.
Wow.
That she's in charge of. So this is and grown men.
Yeah.
The company at the time was like 125 years old.
Dang.
Okay, so this company's been around a while.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, as soon as she walks in, she's like offering me water. She's treating me like, I don't know. I felt like a king.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm supposed to be. Yeah. So it was a really unique experience. She starts asking me about what I do, and we go through the process, and I felt like a really good connection. And she says, "Hey, I'm gonna have you go see HR." So now, that's pretty crazy.
Fernando got a job.
Yeah. So I go see HR, and next thing you know, I'm working there.
Yeah.
Awesome things. In a way, everything like she did felt perfect. Okay.
Wow.
She walked through and talked every morning. She would go from office to office, right, including my office, and talk to me about projects or whatever was next on the. And she'd always ask me questions, even if I didn't know the answers. Then she would follow up with like the most amazing answer.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she always championed my style of work because I was bringing a little bit of street and city to corporate America.
About you.
So it was kind of, it was different. So she was a champion of that. And it was deeper than at a surface level. If that makes any sense, right? Okay. I also realized her passion for what she did was amazing. She always had great ideas. And there was this one time where she was coming up with a marketing strategy, and she said, Heating America or something like that. And it was really cool. And we started researching all the places that Mount McLean boilers were at.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore? Rushmore? Guess what type of boilers are at Mount Rushmore?
No way.
Guess.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's a 125-year-old company, though, right? So
yes. The list goes on and on. Oh, I got another big one. Statue of Liberty.
What?
Yeah. So all my ads.
That in itself is
So she had all kinds of we pulled all kinds of cool Cubs baseball stadium. Wrigley Field. Yeah. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's crazy, right?
So iconic locations.
Yeah, iconic locations. So I'm about to do this whole campaign, right? And we're hiring photographers to go to these locations.
Yeah. They're very cool. Very cool.
Sending out sales, finding out history on these locations so that the ads make sense.
Yeah.
Heating America, right? So at one point we got to go to Illinois, and they did an ad on Mike Singletary. Yeah, it was really cool.
Wow,
So they did his whole house. And, I'm name dropping. I'm doing this on purpose because I feel like I want you to understand. I want people to understand, fellas. This lady was amazing at what she did. Okay. Plus, on top of that, she has to run all the programs for like trade shows. So all the trade shows that you're going to be at. Yeah. Like she's also getting all. And there's people that work on her team. But she's the mastermind behind this whole thing. She's the chess player. Yeah, the orchestrator. And she's moving all the pieces. And the level of respect that everyone had for her was amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I never heard a bad thing about her. And then one day she says, hey, Fernando, I know you sit here a lot. She goes, how about at lunch we go take a walk? I'm like, all right. The cool thing about the walks were, one, I could hardly keep up because she was in amazing shape. And we'd walk from Wal McLean office to the pier where the lighthouse is, that beach over there. Yeah. Which was probably like 3 miles. And she was speed walking. And she's like, hey, move your hands. Because if you're not moving your hands, you're not burning candle. Like she was like a mentor in a couple different ways. Yeah. The best part about that was the best part about that though, honestly, was that she we would talk and I would learn and I would pick her brain during that time because I realized, wow, this is a person that I could really learn from. So I took that opportunity just to talk. We talked about family. It's like I felt like I knew her husband and children, and the same thing with me. And I tell you all, all this because I went in and I would offer a lot. Yeah, I would go above and beyond for her, and I think she knew that. And so it was reciprocal.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it was reciprocal. But I realized that the people like that are really hard to find. So if you're looking for a mentor, not always are you going to be able to land. That was like all the stars aligned perfectly. And
you recognized it, though.
And I recognized it fast. And then I jumped at the opportunity.
And she recognized that you recognized it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is incredible.
Probably, yeah.
And you know what I love about that? And I don't want to get you off track.
No, go ahead.
I love that you saw that compensation, Junior, isn't always. I know, guys, you got to buy bread and milk and pay for gas. Yeah. I know. But compensation, guys, it isn't always black and white.
No.
Like, you saw a lot of value in your relationship with her. Yeah. And just if I got to do a 6 mile walk, all the nuggets she's dropping, I'm gonna pick them up.
Yeah,
it's incredible, man.
Yeah, I could. There's not enough time for me to like really get into depth. This is a little surface, but I am gonna tell you something I've never spoken in my life. Okay, Creative Graphic Solutions.
They want to know.
Yeah.
Creative Graphic Solutions. Yes, my incredible company.
Yeah. Do you know who came up with that name? Yeah, Lee Bober. This is, and like, I can't explain. Like, I get emotional just right now thinking about this because I've never verbally said this.
Yeah.
Okay. So that company was going to let me go.
Sure.
Okay. And my position was going to be terminated there. And Lee found out like 6 months before it was going to happen.
Wow.
And about a month after finding out, she called me into her office. And I feel like I could talk about this now because this is
time has passed, right?
A lot of time has passed and none of this is relevant anymore. She says, hey, Fernando. And she would always tell me, and she didn't know that I'm going to sprinkle Jesus on here. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
In my prayer life, I was asking God, one day I would love to do this. I would love to have my own company because I realized like all the things that I could do and all the creativity that could happen. And she was, during those walks, she was feeding it. Okay.
Yeah.
And she, it took her a month to come to me because I think she was in a hard place.
She's probably told she couldn't disclose these things.
She did tell me that. So I'm in her office and she tells me, and I see a tear come to her eye. Okay. And I got a little bit emotional, but I was trying to be strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So when she's done, I walk out of her. She tells me, hey, I wanted you to know because I want you to prepare. Get your resume together. I'll walk through it. I'll get you. I'll give you a really good reference.
Sure.
Which I appreciate all that. And then she mentioned Not at that moment. But anyway, I walk out of that office walking sideways because I felt like I didn't drink my V8. Remember that commercial? I'm totally messed up. She comes back, invites me to her office again. She says, "Hey, the company's still going to need a graphic designer." She goes, "You should open up a company. I don't know, call it Creative Graphics or something." This is exactly what she says. She goes, "We'll go here. We'll get a TID. You know, we'll tax
For
ID,
people who don't understand.
yeah, tax ID number.
Tax ID number.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll name it something that's not. She asked me. She goes, "What would you call it?" And I said, "Lopez Designs."
Miss Bober, thank you for not letting Fernando name his own company.
She goes, She goes, "Let's call it Creative." Let's call it. Yeah. She goes, "Let's call it something like Creative Graphics." She goes, "It's nothing associated to you, right?
Yeah.
Like to your being who you are, whatever. Because it would be kind of weird that they fired me and then I come back.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? She's seen that already.
Yeah.
She was like, that's not gonna work. So she literally drops nuggets like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, like all the way. By the time I'm gonna be let go, now the hardest,
You just gotta follow them breadcrumbs.
I just got, she just dropped the ball. So I'm like, all right, well, I make this much while I'm working for you.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, but you're gonna charge double that.
This is what we do times two.
Okay. I'm like, what? She was like, yeah, another breadcrumb. She's just dropping them as she goes. And so by the time this comes, now she doesn't realize that she made it really, really easy, or a lot easier for me. The hardest part was coming to work every day knowing that you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
For like however many months, right?
Sure.
This weird feeling that when you're saying hi or bye to someone, it might be the last time you say hi to bye. So later on, she finds out the day and time, and she goes, hey, on this day and this time, that's what's going to happen. And she did, like, there was a lot less suffering because she waited till the very end to tell me that. Because it probably would have been worse if I would have known that from the jump.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she gave me a warning. And on that day, I remember I'm working on my computer. Phone rings. I answer the phone, and they're like, hey, can you come down to HR?
Hey, Fernando, how you doing? This is HR. Why don't you come on down to the office? We've got some stuff we'd love to talk about.
Oh, great, man. Is it about my Christmas bonus?
Not exactly.
I'm like, oh. So I remember walking down to HR, like, it's like, yeah. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't help but think, I have a sole proprietorship. I have the tax ID.
Was this stuff, Junior, did you have it, like, was it already up and running a little bit? Or were they going to be like your first customer? Like you're going to walk out the door and walk in the next door with the suit on being like,
you got it.
Hey man, I'm Creative Graphic Solutions. Check it out. Double the bill.
That's exactly how it works.
That is insane.
Yes. She set it up.
I never knew the story.
Nobody does. This is my first time. I'm literally telling you.
Man, I got
everyone for the first time. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. You're sprinkling some Jesus on it.
Yeah. Because this is I did sprinkle a little bit of Jesus there, but I'm sprinkling another dose right now.
Jesus is coming?
Jesus, and this is like, sometimes we ask for things, and you'll understand what I'm saying. We'll ask for things, and unknowingly, they don't come the exact way you think they're going to come.
Yeah.
Right? And it got there. And
it got there, Junior.
Yeah, and it was through Lee Bober, a mentor of mine, for a season in my life that I needed her to take me to a place, and here we are. Good Lord, how many years later? 20 years later.
20 years later.
Yeah, that's why I felt like I could tell the story now. Yeah, and it would be.
Yeah, man. I wish Lee was here today.
You know what? I'm going to reach out to her.
Reach out to her.
I am. I would love to have Lee on here. I'm going to send her this. But I mean, so yeah, that's definitely a mentor, and what I took from her. And I mean, she mentored me on how to even start a business and how to, and what's funny is it took about, I had that client for like 15 years before they realized I was the same person. They let go. Maybe a little less, maybe 13, 14
You know what else
years,
she did for you? Like she mentored you on how to mentor.
She did. She did.
That's insane, Junior.
She did. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So, that's great. When we talk about Lee a little bit more.
Yeah.
So some people, Junior, are incredible at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not careful, you'll think, well, this is the person I want to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things they don't have is the ability to transfer knowledge in a digestible way.
Yeah. That's the levels we were talking about.
That's the level. So you can be, okay, I'm gonna learn by watching you.
Yeah.
But like the part where I would really need you to explain something, like Felicia just called me.
Okay.
To put air in her tire. Like my daughter we've changed brakes in the car. We've changed mufflers on the Mustang. And this dude forgot to tell her how to put air in her tire. And you know what she did? She made that mofo flat at the gas station. Now she's in Wisconsin. And I'm like, what am I going to do? My girl is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's jump on the FaceTime. Because,
Yeah.
I might not be the best mechanic, but if you let me get involved.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lead this.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna get so we got air in a tire, but I can imagine there could have been a dude who's like an Audi mechanic who just rolled his eyes and walked away from her.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So mentors don't always have to be the world's greatest. Like you don't have to have Picasso to teach you how to finger paint.
No.
He might not be able to finger paint, but man, he painted the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah. I think like I guess another example would be like let's say you have someone that's starting a business, a young person. There's a young person starting a business, and they're making $3,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
Side hustle, entrepreneurship, versus someone making $1 million. Okay.
Sure.
The advice and the person that the $3,000 guy needs is going to be completely different than the advice.
It's so different.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So if I get, even in our industry, if you get a guy that's just walking into the mill, and let's say, he's very talented, very smart guy, great SAT scores, whatever, and he talks to someone at like a lower management position, and that conversation might flow better than if he walks into your meeting and the words and the conversations and the things you guys are talking about would be like a different language to him.
Sure, like when I say, my name's Blowfly. He's like, what the heck?
Oh, you guys introduce yourselves by your middle names?
People have nicknames. Can you imagine? You're so right.
Blowfly.
Culture shock.
Yeah,
that's so good, man.
How you doing? I'm Maytag.
Yeah, Maytag. Remember that, right. That's exactly right.
So the conversation is different. Like in the industry, in the mentorship industry, there's actually an acronym.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, it's T, the T theory.
Okay, the T theory.
Right. The T, TEA, the T stands for the teaching, right? So those are the ones that work in theory.
Okay.
So like a professor at college that's teaching you how to open up your business.
Sure.
And you ask him, hey, how many businesses have you opened up? And he says,
just put your face back in the book, you
Right.
smart aleck punk. Yeah,
None,
I get it.
right?
Right. He knows the steps. He knows how to transfer knowledge, but he actually has no practical experience.
Yes, which leads me to E, which is experience, right? So the experience is, but the type of experience I'm talking about is the experience where they've worked for so-and-so.
Yes.
That is the man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So by 1 degree of separation, 2 degrees of separation, I've worked with, I don't know, if you're trying to become Michael Jordan, I was the guy that wrapped his ankle or whatever.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right,
it could be
right.
even simple like that, or it could be like, I was the coach, the assistant coach on the team that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, or whatever. And then the A is for like application, which would be considered like the trifecta of those three, right? He's the teacher, has the experience, and he's like applying it every day.
Yeah,
So,
right. Now, do you think that sometimes, Junior, you need to have phases or be a part of all those levels? Like you need to get exposed to those? Or do you think one of those typically works for you based on your personality? Like some people book learn, they're good, dude. But some people can't read a lick, and then they watch someone do something and they got it like the first time. My brother's kind of like that. Like,
your brother?
He can learn things from just watching people do it. And actually, it's probably the only way he learns well.
Yeah.
Right? He's told me that himself.
Yeah.
You know?
I think what happens, in society, though, is some are more accessible than others. So in the T theory, the teacher you might have some of those guys around, right? The experience, you might run into one of those, or maybe you know someone that knows someone, and you can open the door, or open the door for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Or open the door for someone. And then I think it's so much harder to get that one-on-one. Like, again, what types of steps did you have to get to where you were at?
Yeah.
You had to be mentored along the way.
Sure.
A lot of those mentorships you probably searched out because you're like, ooh, I want that. And then, you kind of played chess till you get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think like it would be a lot harder for a guy that just walked into your job and then say, hey, I want to be mentored by you. Like, or get to that position. I think it's going to take a little more. But if all the stars align, yes, it could happen.
Yeah.
I agree. It could definitely happen. I did put like 3 steps on how to.
I would love to hear it. I just want to say one more thing about Lee.
Yes.
What I love is in your story, they vetted you whether you were worthy of like the connection.
Oh my God! Right? I'm so happy that they did.
I know.
I'm still excited about it.
And that's why she could come in probably and be herself because.
Yeah. I felt like I knew her already.
You were worthy of her investment. Exactly.
Yeah,
and then you got it. Like the moment you saw her, you're like, well, man, this was kind of a hassle, but man, it was worth it because I'm going to learn so much from her. And that was absolutely awesome. The story's so cool.
Yeah. I became friends, and I still am friends with a lot of the people that I met through that through that experience. And I know that I could reach out to her.
I'm sure you could.
And then her successor, when she retired, was like amazing too, because I got a chance to work with the person after her, and I'm like, wow, man! Shouts to Dan Vassar. He's a good. There you go. So he's a good guy.
Awesome.
He's on the town council at Highland. If I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And his brother's chief of police there.
Just in case I get arrested in Highland.
Rewind to this exact
Vassar?
moment. Yeah. So, but that was an amazing experience, and I'm so glad I did. And which kind of that thought brought me to 3 ways to find a mentor.
Yeah,
which I think I got a little bit more, but we'll just go with.
Yeah, 3. Let's go. Let's hear them, man.
All right, so
Uno.
I put keep asking. What I mean by that is if you, especially with technology today, so if you're looking to get someone's attention, you can hit them up on.
You can.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, text them if they have an text app. And how I would do that is maybe asking like 5 to 7 people that I feel that can provide that mentorship, almost to the point of getting a restraining order.
Yeah, right.
Like you really want them to know your name, right?
I got a joke.
Go ahead. You couldn't wait. Go ahead, talk to me. I want to hear
when
this.
You said that restraining order. You know what the difference is between like a guy who's persistent and a guy who a girl gets a restraining order against, right?
No.
Well, the persistent guy's good looking.
Boy, was my face red.
He's just persistent.
Right, yeah.
Oh, Lord. Or he's a stalker if he's ugly.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, ladies. Everybody back down.
It's a joke.
Okay.
That was good.
Right,
But yeah. So, you're sending these messages or you're trying to be in the same location as them.
Yes.
There's that little fine line that
I was gonna say. Is there a line, Junior? I mean, like, because when you turn around and bump into like people and they're like breathing COVID air on you right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, yeah, you got to be careful now. Right?
Yeah, you got to be tactful.
Yes.
So got to have class. You got to be classy.
Yeah, and I would say second, do your research. Number 2, do your research. Okay, find out about the person and like what they want to, like what they do. Because you're about to ask them for a mentorship, right?
So here, like
which talks about what you were just said. Yeah, you just mentioned part of that, right? This person might do this, and this, but he might not be. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta do your research. Like sometimes, I'll give you an example. I've had people ask me for for this exact same thing, and then they'll ask me the silliest question that they could just have like went online and said, "Oh yeah,
right,
you did, yeah."
But let me get to your question, Fernando. If I come to you and I'm a brand new customer and I say, Fernando, I love the billboard you did for Miguel Torres.
Boom.
And you're like, this person's already like noticed my work.
Yeah.
It's important, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you as a mentor looking to mentor, you are going to probably divert some attention, at least right away to that person because they paid you a backdoor compliment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And at first, the mentor might not notice your name, right? But if you keep putting that name in front of him, eventually he's going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Another backdoor way to get in is like if that mentor has like a secretary, right? And you treat that secretary really nice, and maybe you bring her coffee, or eventually,
it's getting back to that person.
It's getting back to the potential mentors or people that you're looking to that you want to mentor you. They're looking also for you to be resourceful, right? Yeah. Their time is valuable. They can't get any of that.
Yeah,
back.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
But if they're worthy mentors, Junior, there's something special about them. They're not going to be readily available all the time.
Well, Tony was a prime example, right? He said, I teach from this time to this time. And then you heard him say a couple times during the podcast, he goes, sometimes I don't, I might go an extra 20 minutes.
Yeah,
but it's not
I love
rare,
that part of this.
But he does do it once in a while.
Yeah, he's not just going to be like, hey, ding, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
He's investing in you.
Yes.
Changing lives. He said it 20 times.
And then number three, provide so much value that the mentor can't overlook you.
Yeah.
And that is actually number one, but I did on purpose put it number three. But if I go to you and I offer something to you, right? Example, I'm going to use this podcast for example. You are the guy who's doing all the editing, right? But there's some guy listening to this and says, man, I really want to open up my editing business, right? How about he comes and offers to edit the podcast for you? At that point, in return for the mentorship, now he's editing and you might be sitting next to him and he might be collecting those nuggets, right?
Yes.
Or whatever he's looking for.
Right.
That will play out in so many different scenarios where if you provide value, right? The value can come as offering like your enthusiasm or your passion or drive or focus, right? I'm offering that to you. And then you're like, oh, well, I could use that for my advantage.
Yeah.
Or my as trade. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. That's just a different way to look at it. And then bonus.
Hit it.
I put number
bonus.
4. Yeah.
We're in the bonus, people.
Be on that path already. You can't ask someone to come and swoop you under their wing and mentor you if you're not going in that direction already. So if you want to be a videographer, a graphic designer, entrepreneur, anything, but you're expecting that person to just come and make you a millionaire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, then you're not offering anything. You didn't do your research. And what was the first one? You only asked once, and you're like first time guy coming over and saying, hey, I want you to make me a millionaire. It's not going to work.
You think people typically, when they feel like they should have been invested in, turn around and go, well, let me look in the mirror and see if I projected worthiness of investment.
Wow.
Do you think?
I like that.
Guys doing that, like for example, like you're like, I want to be on that BMX Olympic team, and then you go there and they're like, well, do you have a bicycle? You're like, no, I don't really ride a bike, but you guys are cool.
Can I borrow yours?
Yeah, I mean, so do you think that you're going to get invited to the next secret ride at midnight over here at Steel Wheels? For the train? You're not going to. It's not going to happen, guys. But show up and do a tabletop in front of them.
Yeah.
And be cool about it, and don't be arrogant about it. And watch, man. You're going to get the invite that you want. That is the door that you want to open.
I think, which brought something else to mind. When right now we see a lot of like online programs. And they're expensive. So I'll mentor you for $6,000, right? And it's expensive, right? What about like the
man?
What about
Jesus
going to using the T method, or there's other ways that we could do it, but like you could have like dead mentors, right? So I don't know. Think of a mentor like Steve Jobs passed away.
Yeah.
Why don't you go try reading all Steve Jobs stuff?
Man.
Right?
That's so good.
Benjamin Franklin, or I don't know. So somebody that's already passed, that was an entrepreneur that you could use. Those resources are at your fingertips now through cell phones and computers, you know, your iPad, you can like look that stuff up. And then you have online mentors. There's so many mentors out there now that their information is out there and it's free.
Yeah, it's free.
Instead of paying $6,000, you can, you know, and which if you, let's say you try both of those, then you can go to local, like your local market, you know, and maybe mentor, you know, a mentorship under, I don't know, if you want to be a lawyer, maybe there's like a lawyer in your town or in your city that, you know, you can mentor. And then if need be, right, you can pay to get that mentorship. But I guess I would equate it to if you have, right, if you are a bodybuilder or something of that type, right? At first, if you want to get really big muscles, right? Like, I don't know, like, what was that? He was like a 9-time champion.
Okay, you mentioned Ronnie Coleman.
That was him. All right. So you walk up to him, right? And you tell him, I want to be just like you. I want to be a Mr. Olympia, blah, blah, blah. That guy would laugh.
He's going to be like, you a little white boy.
But you haven't really invested in like, you know, learning
so good,
hammer curls or like you haven't really invested in learning, you know what I'm saying? So there's a mentor for that level. And then there's a mentor for like, let's say you get that stuff and now you see potential and you're like, okay, that kid, people are starting noticing you, whatever. Then there's a mentor for that. Then you're like, well, how can I take it to the next level? And let's say it's diet. There's mentorships for that. Before you pay, like, dude, that guy is probably $400 an hour. Easy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So like you're going to be dropping some crazy coin on that guy to train you, where you should like really focus on learning how to do the weights correctly. Then you know what I'm saying? Like, there's levels to the game.
It's Junior. It's like anything
I saw something, so I want to know
anything that you do.
Yeah.
And if you're like, for example, paying Ronnie Coleman $400 an hour to work out, if you have to pay $400 to work out with Ronnie Coleman, you weren't ready.
Right.
You know, it's just that simple. You were not freaking ready. You're trying to purchase something that you could have earned.
Yeah. And what Ronnie Coleman, right, is going to offer you is a language that you can't speak when you're just learning how to, which goes back to a lot of the stuff that we talked about. You know what I'm saying? Just like putting it together.
Yeah.
So
you're right. You're right, Junior. So look for a mentor, know them by their fruit. That's one of my favorite things is you will know them by their fruit.
Yeah.
And look for one that's at a level that you're trying to ascend to.
Yeah.
Don't dismiss them because they're not billionaires.
Right.
Because you don't speak the billionaire's language yet anyway.
Right.
It's humongous right there. That's
Plus,
awesome.
I think kids when they're looking at like spending $6,000 to get mentored, this is kind of like, I know what's going through their mind because every day you're looking at the news and it's like, oh, the newest billionaire is 30 years old, right?
Yes.
You got this 16-year-old thinking, wow, I only got 15 years to make it. The next week, you got another guy saying, oh, the newest billionaire is 23.
Yeah.
And now this 16-year-old's like, oh no, I'm running out of time. And I get it. But that 23-year-old billionaire, 9 times out of 10, it was a trust fund, right?
Yeah.
And then less than 1% that actually ever happens.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of emphasis put on that, but it's not like, that's not reality.
Yeah.
For the masses.
That's so good, Junior. And I'm going to tell you what, like, next week we're hoping to have a guest and it's going to be amazing. But I want to talk about, when we do have time together again, and it's going to be Thanksgiving next week, guys. I hope you're thankful.
Man.
I'm thankful for so much, especially you. I love you, man.
Yeah.
But
love you too, bro.
The thing I wanted to say, and whenever I do this, it's because I'm forgetting what I was going to say.
Yeah. Okay.
Is
it about thankfulness? Gratitude?
No.
Next week when we get together?
It's actually, there's no such thing.
Okay.
As a overnight success.
Perfect.
And I'm going to tell you what I mean, and Junior's he already knows what I mean. He's like, telepathically communicating with me right now. There's people who appear to be successful overnight, but how do you define success? So you think we've covered most of this mentor stuff?
Except my final note.
The final note. We're on the way out.
For me. It's Thanksgiving. I have a lot of gratitude for a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I know you're going to want to fire back, but I'm going to ask you to resist.
Okay.
But I appreciate the mentorship I have in you. All right? I really do. There you go. You can take it.
Taking it.
Some
swole.
Swole. And taller, look.
Like I'm almost as tall as you anyway.
Yeah, but thank you for that, man, because you seen a value, and I seen the value in you, and I struck while the iron was hot.
Man.
And I appreciate that you allowed me the opportunity to kind of work with you on all these projects and push the book and push the ideas that you have, because I feel like there's a lot of young men and older men alike that really need to like have this inputted into their mind, into their heart, into their brain. And I know the Lord gave you all this for a reason, and I'm so excited to be a part of it, and I'm thankful for that. I just wanted to let you know.
Well, I'm not trying not to fire back. I'll wait for another episode. But you gave me the goosey pimples, bro.
You're my man, bro. I appreciate it.
Love you too. Happy Thanksgiving to the listeners and the viewers.
Yeah.
And we got some surprises coming.
Yeah,
so.
we do. All
right. My name is Jaywa Casey.
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
This has been
the Mental Edge Podcast.
We out. Well,
all right. That'll just about wrap it up. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mental Edge Podcast. Your host, Fernando Lopez Jr.
Oh, he's so handsome.
And his trusty sidekick, Jaywa Casey.
Hey, that's me.
Seriously appreciate you spending time with us tonight. Remember, if you like this content, the most flattering thing you can do is like and share.